Another money-saving secret from Arm & Hammer.
My name is Malena. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I love Arm & Hammer Sensitive Skin Plus Scent laundry detergent. It cleans really well. It doesn't irritate my skin, and it smells wonderful.
Arm & Hammer's Sensitive Skin Plus scent has a skin-friendly scent people love, so it's preferred 2-to-1 over the leading free and clear detergent, and it costs up to 30% less.
We've been on a very tight budget lately, so it's a no-brainer.
The clean you need at a fraction of the cost.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
After break. No.
Sorry, what?
We just lost half our listeners.
Gone. Okay.
The three of you that are left.
Well, like she said, the three of you left. What can we say? Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another after show on AFTERBUZZ TV. I am JC, and this is The Bachelorette Season 9, Episode number 5. We're halfway there.
Back in the big girl studio.
That's right. We're back in Studio A. How does it feel? Keep the music going, Steven. I'm feeling it.
It's roomy.
Do you feel it, Cathy?
I do feel it. From Atlantic City to Munich, Germany, they are moving on up.
Yes, from the Goombas to the Lederhosen, we got a lot to talk about, and talk about Chris being pretty much the perfect guy.
The sausage fests.
Yeah, and to the not so perfect of Bryden, Ben, and now the new possible villain of James. But before we go any further, let us introduce our wonderful host, starting with the lovely lady to my right in the pink.
Oh, that's me. Hey guys, Krisily.
And next to Krisily.
Hey, I'm Cathy Kelley.
And just as pretty, the guy in the back. What's going on, Steven? How are you, buddy?
I'm all right.
Oh, wow.
Feeling good for Bachelorette.
Whoa.
We may have to calm
Yeah,
down.
we need a lot of energy, guys. Come on.
Okay, well, we're going to give
We
you that.
need less energy this week because we got killed in the comments for being too happy.
We'll simmer down, and well, let's get into it.
Really? Too happy? Come on.
I did want to say, though, last week I know that I was making fun of a lot of the contestants, and I just wanted to say and clarify that while we do poke fun at some of the contestants, it's the version that you see on reality TV, and that they can be edited in any way, and a lot of them, we would never make fun of them in real life, but we're making fun of their persona, and it might not be right. And whatever else.
I do not apologize for anything that I say here at AfterBuzz. Kathy may, but I don't take any of it back.
I mean, I'm not apologizing. I'm saying that, like, we're not making fun of these people. We're making fun of who the editors make them, which isn't necessarily who they actually are. Because we've seen a lot of times in the past where, you know, Michelle Money is an excellent example, where people berated her and said she was the meanest person ever, and then we realized that she's actually a pretty cool chick. So.
With that said, it's all for entertainment. We're passionate. Our fans are passionate. We're all super fans, and we're here just to break it down.
Yeah.
And if we loved all of them and said wonderful things about all of them, then they would complain about that. So
it's a little mix of everything.
Yeah.
All right, so
absolutely.
Let's get it. So what did we think overall about tonight's episode then? Fans, no fans. I mean, with everything that happened, we had a lot of content, I think, tonight. Mm-hmm. So I think we're finally, it's that moment where it's turning the corner, where it's going to start getting a little more serious.
A little more dramatic.
Yes. And some people like Bryden being outed. And we talked about it last week as well. You know, he wasn't in it for the right reasons. And
right reasons.
Yes. But I really want to start. I fell in love. This is like a bromance.
With who?
Chris.
Chris S.
Chris was, I can't begin to say how awesome this guy is. And if it's editing, I don't know, but he just seems so genuine, just a beautiful, good guy. I don't see anything wrong with the guy.
He reminds me a lot of JP Rosenbaum.
Really? How
Yeah,
so?
just that, I mean, him being a good guy, I feel like his mannerisms are very similar, and just he seems very sincere. Like, I don't know what about it. I'm not saying that they're identical, but they seemed very similar in their personalities.
So, Chris, you were rooting for him too as well. We were watching it. You're just like, you're really feeling Chris. I think
He's just genuine and authentic, and there's no BS with him. It's what you see is what you get. I think together they complement each other very well, and he's quickly becoming my number 2.
You're number 2.
Number
Yes.
2, yes.
It looks like there's something between them, which
Oh, for sure.
I feel like there are very few guys that, even though she has made out with a lot of people, I feel like there are very few that look like they have that genuine connection, and he's one of them.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I'm worried though, because he's such a nice guy, and it just depends where Desiree's at. Because Krisily, you've said it yourself that this show sometimes changes the people that get involved in the show.
100%.
You know, and with
We're already seeing that happen with some of the guys, and usually it doesn't happen until they get home. But clearly they've watched the seasons before and they know what can happen, so we're already seeing that with some of the guys.
yeah, so overall it seems like that's the thing. Because I was going to bring this up about Chris, but not ideally. I'm not going to say I want him to win, but if Desiree picks him and they pick each other, wonderful. I think
Yeah.
it'd be beautiful. But if he doesn't get picked, could we see him as the next Bachelor?
For sure. Absolutely.
Do you think he might just be maybe too mellow, though?
A lot of people said that about Emily, and she turned out to be hilarious.
Okay.
A lot of people said that about Des. I feel like people say that every single season, and, we're usually happily surprised.
Well, let's talk about their date, because they went and explored Munich, and he was goofy.
They tried to explore Munich,
Because why?
and then it got bombed
Have
by
you never used a
Bryden.
map before, too? I love that part.
With Bryden?
No, before.
Wow.
They were talking about, like, using maps or whatever, and they were like, have you never used a map before? And Desiree's like, yeah, probably never. Or when's the last time you used a map? That's what it was. Never.
Oh, technology. No, but with that said, Bryden was looking for them, kind of like in seasons past when Sean went looking for Emily, but Bryden went looking for Des. Why couldn't he just ask a producer? Oh, where are they at?
Because it wouldn't have looked as cool if he knew how to find them. It would have looked way better if they had to ask people that didn't speak English where they were.
And more importantly, then why didn't he wait till their date was done or before the date?
The same reason why he got on a plane and flew to Germany before he realized he wanted to dump her.
I was so
mean,
mad.
really.
I was mad at that. I'm sorry.
Her face was priceless because as he's talking to her, you can see it in her face like, wait a minute, are you really, is this really happening? You're dumping me in the middle of my date with someone else.
It was awkward timing.
He even had the creeper guy, when right before Bryden approached the camera, he was off into the crowd, and he was just like staring at them.
Very single white female.
Yeah.
Totally was.
I was like, ah.
I would have totally thought he would have been such a man about something like that, and he so is not a man about it. I was not impressed by the way that he did that and the way that he took something away from a date that she was on. He should have waited until they got back. It was not.
His intentions were right, but the timing was awful.
Speaking of someone who is edited one way and potentially not that way in person, we mentioned last week. Are we allowed to say it now?
Yes, I think we can.
Okay. I heard on good word that he has a girlfriend back home
Yeah,
and had a girlfriend the entire time.
So what's his intentions for going on the show? You know what I mean? Like, he's an army guy.
More
He's-
Twitter followers.
Very well could be.
I don't know. I mean, people do weird things. Like, yes, there are some with obvious intentions, like Justin Rated R, who went on the show because he wanted to be a professional wrestler. And then there are other people who, they just might want the fame. Like, if he's living in Minnesota, what else, what other opportunities are there to achieve fame like that?
Maybe we should delve in a little deeper, perhaps. Too bad we're talking about this now with maybe Bryden has a business. Maybe Bryden. I don't know because I've heard
He could have ulterior motives. We don't know.
I heard the same for a few weeks now that he possibly had a girlfriend at home and whatnot. But
He fooled me. The first week, I loved the guy.
right.
And
America did. I saw a lot of people, especially with his backstory, the Iraqi war veteran and whatnot, and he seemed so sweet.
he seemed just like a sincere Midwestern guy, and that is what I'm saying, is that these are the characters that you see on TV.
Well, with that said, so isn't it just even more kudos to Chris? Because when Bryden came in the middle of their date, Chris was concerned, but he wasn't concerned about Bryden taking away their time. He was concerned about Desiree, about her coming back hurt, angry, sad. That's what
How he would alleviate her pain.
Yes.
It was an awe moment.
It was selfless.
Good dude.
He is.
That's love. Thinking of yourself secondary.
That's a man. That's a stand-up man, which I feel like that's something we're lacking this season is real men. I've seen a lot of boys. I've seen a lot of cattiness, and I feel like there's very few men on this season, and that's what kind of annoys me a little bit about these boys. But he's definitely a man. Like, he showed today that he was a man, and I was really impressed by him.
Was it JP that got the date with Ashley after she got dumped? Back up to
I don't remember.
The chat roll, if you guys, I know we're having some slow feedback with our Twitter and our chat, but please let us know if you guys know the answer to that. So if you're watching at home, if you're watching us live, hello. If not, make sure to tune in on iTunes, YouTube, and our new site, AfterBuzzTV.com.
And I just want to mention also, we just, as you mentioned, completely revamped our website. There has been some people saying that they can't get the new podcasts, and so if you have an Android or a phone that is not an iPhone, just make sure that you go over to the new website and you can find the the podcast version and the video version, because some of the other apps that aren't iTunes haven't been uploading yet. So.
It's our transition. That's why there's going to be some bumps along the road, but it is an awesome site, and when it's 100%, really it is. I love the site.
Well, the site's up and running. It's the other apps that they haven't picked up the new feed yet. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So good to know. All right.
Yeah.
So
although they might not be able to hear that because they can't get the new shows, but we are still doing shows, so check them out.
So definitely tune in. So finishing up with Chris, of course. We've talked about how many times is she being referred to as Cinderella, and can Chris, or I know Krisily has a little bit of a crush on Brooks.
I don't have a crush on Brooks.
A fan
Let's
crush.
clarify
a
that.
Fan crush.
I just like Brooks for Des.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. No, but I'm just saying, well, back to Chris, he's kind of like that knight in shining armor. Krisely's not buying it.
No, I don't see a knight in shining armor. I just see a
good
very
guy.
normal guy. Like, I don't think he's out to rescue her. I don't think he's trying to rescue her. I just think that he's a really great guy.
But that wouldn't play into the fairy tale theme of the season.
I feel like they've let that go a little bit, though. I feel like we haven't heard the Cinderella story part.
This week,
Just like we haven't
At
heard the
all.
hashtag thing in a while.
Thank God, I forgot that he was hashtag guy.
Casey S. always cracks me up. Like today, at the beginning of the show, where he comes in with his German that he knows, and it was something just completely off.
All the guys were trying their German, Chris was, and just, yeah.
No one broke out the Ich liebe dich. I love you.
Ich dich hab ich.
Yes.
Really?
No.
Okay. You have to teach us. So now, besides the lessons in German, I can't wait to get to the 2-on-1. But before that, let's of course talk about the group date. All 7 guys on a sled, and of course Krisily was loving the men on a mountain because she's quite the outdoors woman, right? I know you're not.
I was like, where are you even going with this? It was an interesting date.
It was fun.
The second half was fun. The gondola ride with 7 guys was really awkward.
This is a sausage fest.
It was, but I feel
German
like
sausage.
She's been waiting all show to say that. I'm sorry.
I feel like this is the first time I've seen Desiree be on as well. I feel like there was I don't know if it was acting. It was just very like we saw a different maturity level maybe from her. There was just a lot of oh my God, and I felt like I was watching a little kid, which Nah.
We talked about it, and I've talked to fans outside about this. That this season it's been like a little more low key.
I've loved that about her. That she was just a normal girl looking for love, and tonight was on this group date was the first time that I saw this like little kid that had never seen anything. It was just a weird, and it wasn't like, oh my God, I've never traveled before. I appreciate this. It looks amazing. It was this awkward like.
It was
over-exaggerated.
It was very stressed, though, that she had never been to Europe. And I was actually upset last week when they were talking about going to Germany, and no one seemed that excited. Like, there were, like, Des was in the cocktail thing, and she's like, oh, yeah, and we're going to Germany. You're going to Germany. Like, that's freaking cool, whether you've been there or not. Like, that's awesome.
Could it be because they know the game? They were like, oh, this is when we go to Europe or some exotic land?
I think at the end of last week's rose ceremony, she was just so tired that it just didn't come across that way.
Okay.
Because clearly she's excited, and I feel like tonight she was overexcited. Like, I would have liked that happy medium. It was like, I'm just saying, like, I think I like the playfulness and the snow and the snowmen that had really big heads. But she was just a little too childlike for me.
Maybe it's because she's getting more comfortable with the guys. And we talked about this last season. When you are attracted to someone and you get more comfortable with them, sometimes you have a baby voice.
You talked about that. I did not. I don't.
Did she not? But
Yeah, some people do that, but I don't know that everyone does.
She didn't have a baby voice. You know,
No,
Des.
I know, but
Yeah.
she was just,
No.
she was a little more comfortable, and I feel like you get giddy and whatever else. I don't know.
And then, of course, she goes to the igloo and starts making out with the guys.
Yes.
And
everyone.
Krisily noticed, was it Cathy? One of you noticed that she just grabs the guys, right? She
did. There were 3 of them that she grabbed by the neck when she kissed them.
Aggressive.
Tonight. Yeah, it
Girl
was
that
like,
knows what she wants.
Yeah. And I also noted that when Mikey T was building his snowman had the biggest head I've ever seen on a snowman.
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a little. It was him. It was clearly very much a Mikey snowman.
No, but let's talk about like Brooks, Mikey T, and Zach. Come on, Zach. Zach, another yodeling
away.
The yodeling.
Zach is always making his mark every episode. He's making her eat grapefruits. He's yodeling across the land halfway between Germany
Naked
and
guy has game.
Naked guy.
Could
Naked
he
guy.
be the next Bachelor?
God, no, I won't watch it.
Why?
I will not watch if he's the next Bachelor.
Why?
I'm telling you all now, you will not see me if he's the next Bachelor.
I mean,
which some of you may love.
No one would be worried about it being a boring season.
Yeah.
And if we want to question somebody being there for the right reasons, I mean, I just think that he's such a showboat.
Now, true. I
mean, my opinion.
No, and you're right, because imagine when they become the Bachelor or Bachelorette, you tend to see more of their personality. So imagine more of Zach, and we've seen everything of Zach.
I want to rail it back with him. I do. I mean.
No. Well, here was something that I found interesting about Brooks, and you'll have to remind me.
He's amazing.
Yes, Krisily.
Okay.
He's half man, half amazing. No, but he was a little jealous tonight. He was jelly with, was it with James?
Wouldn't you be if you walked in on the girl that you like kissing someone else? And I say this all the time. It's part of the game.
Right.
But still, I mean, still uncomfortable. You still feel awkward seeing the guy that you like kissing some other girl. Like, it still hurts.
Oh, that makes it all the more real, because I feel like while these guys are there and they know that everyone is, dating the same person, to actually see it is completely different
Absolutely.
than imagining it or not trying to think about it. That's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle it.
It made him more even likable for me, of course.
I swear, Krisily, you're so biased.
No, I'm not. I feel like he's one of my favorites. He's my front runner for sure. I've said it every week.
He's a absolutely great guy, but I swear he could commit a homicide and be like, well, the person that
No, that's not true.
I'm just saying.
I think
She's playing footsie with me.
Is she playing footsie?
Totally playing footsie
awesome.
with me.
No, but
it's a very aggressive footsie.
And here was the theme about the night. Brooks was the first one to say it in tonight's episode, how he wondered James' true intentions. And is this something we're going to see a lot more later on in the episode with the other bachelors?
James seemed very, very competitive on the date, and there was one line that really stood out for me that he said in his interview, which is, "I can't tell what Des really wants." So does that mean that you're trying to be what she wants so that she'll pick you, or you're just trying to be yourself and you don't know if that's good enough?
Yeah, so who's
It seemed more like he's trying to be, he's like, I don't know if she likes the funny guys or the serious guys. I'm a little more serious.
It was because she gave Brooks the rose over him, and he was questioning, like, and you do that. There's times when you're sitting in that house and somebody gets a rose over you and you're like, wait a minute. If he likes her, then he can't like me because we're so different. So there's times where that definitely happens.
Usually we see that, and we see that in every season where someone questions, you know, why are they keeping me here if he's just going to pick Vienna in the end?
Right.
And
how do you explain that?
Yeah, how do you explain that? I felt like this time, though, it seemed, and maybe it was the way that it was edited, it seemed like he wanted to become what she wanted as opposed to be himself.
I mean, no disrespect at all, but how do you take Jersey Shore seriously? I mean, sorry, it's my nickname for him. He's a little Jersey Shore, and I think we saw a very great side of him on the Jersey Shore date, but I still don't believe that he is the most genuine, authentic person there that's right for Des at all.
So should we just dive in? I was holding off, but I mean, with what Drew brought up, the fact that Drew and Casey, or was it that Drew overheard James talking to Mikey T?
Are you surprised by that news? Are you surprised by that news?
No.
That we're going to run Chicago and we're going to have tall, beautiful, very wealthy women after us.
Right.
Forget about it, bada bing, bada boom, you know? Sorry. But
unfortunately, a lot of girls in Chicago, I feel like that is their celebrity.
You say that with, you're kind of from the area, no?
No, I am from the area.
Okay.
I'm from Chicago, and I feel like in the Midwest, especially, reality stars are like the, you know,
look at
celebrities
Pauly
there.
D. Now, I don't want to just compare Pauly D to James because I know Pauly. I love Pauly. He's a great guy. But that show was a train wreck. Jersey Shore was a train wreck. The women that throw themselves at this boy is unbelievable. So, of course, James, who's from Chicago, has the mentality of, I'm going to go back and I'm going to be a big deal. Like, who cares? We're going to go have boats. We're going to do this. And I'm a little shocked that anyone would be surprised by him making that statement. I'm surprised Des would even.
And unfortunately,
be shocked.
it's probably true.
Yeah, I
was going to say,
agree.
because it's still hearsay right now that, you know, I don't think Drew, you know, made it up.
He doesn't seem the type to make it up.
Right.
And
Why did the cameras always miss these crucial conversations?
Because at the end of dates like that, when you're all in the van, there's no good shot for them to get. So the cameras are down and you're just in the van.
I understand that, and their mics are still on. Like, can't they just keep the mics still on?
You would think they would do that.
But then it would be just black, and they'd never be able to use it, and that's exactly why those conversations happen when
Reality
the cameras are
trick
down.
101 is that they use clips of you talking over B-roll when it could be from something completely different.
And they would overlap it
But-
with a caption of saying this and this
Yeah.
was said, just to make sure if it's so juicy.
But Drew also set it up perfectly by saying, we were all sleeping in the van, and I woke up to a conversation. So if there's 7 guys in a van and 4 of them are sleeping, the cameras aren't going to roll. I mean, that's just from living and knowing it.
Talk about sausage fest.
The best time to
right?
talk is when everybody's sleeping.
Kathy, I see a recurring theme here with you today, sausage and beer.
I will be done.
No, but and also that he wanted to be, if he finishes top 4, his chances of being the next Bachelor. I mean,
he's right about that, if that's true.
I don't think he ever had a shot
don't
at
think
being the
that-
next
yeah.
Bachelor.
well, what about this next guy possibly being the next Bachelor? Uh-oh. You wanted to add, I was going to say Ben and Michael G's one-on-one
I
two.
think both of them ruined their chances tonight.
That date was a shit show.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
I would have sent both of them home.
horrible.
we
horrible.
all
That
said
was
that.
a train wreck of
Horrible.
a date.
I mean, honestly, from the beginning, from being on the hot tub It was an awkward.
I would have
was a cool
jumped out of the
boat tub,
damn
though.
boat. I would have jumped out.
Yeah.
There's no way I would have sat through that. Like she had to have been sitting there rethinking, why did I ever decide to take them on this date?
I think that the reason why the date was so dramatic was because the guys have seen last season's or previous seasons, and I feel like Mike thought that was his opportunity, and he had to be the one to tell Des. And I completely agree. If there's someone on the show who isn't there for the right reasons, you need to tell the person. But the way that he approached it made him look like the bad guy.
Are we of short memory here?
Would've been
Because
great.
he's like Emily O'Brien. He is like Casey B before him. These bachelors that make the play towards the bachelor, bachelorette, telling them that someone's there for the wrong reasons, and it always backfires.
It doesn't always backfire. It's
Tonight
how
it
you
did.
do it. It's how you do it. I had the conversation with Charlie. It's how you have the conversation. I did not get sent home for her.
If you sound like you're being gossipy, or if you end up, and that's one of those things, is you can easily look like the bad guy when you're calling out someone because you might look jealous, you might look like you're making it up, and there's a very fine line, especially if you have emotion involved. If you take out the emotion and you just state the facts about this person, you're much more likely to, you know.
And he was so amped up going into the date, talking about how Ben just wanted to do the bar thing. And he did end up telling Desiree all the things he wanted to about being condescending. But talk about condescending. He came across as an arrogant, condescending ass during
We're talking
that
about
date.
Michael G?
Yeah, he was terrible. And Ben actually looked like the bigger man because he kept his mouth shut. And I mean, the whole "I'm trying to be a good Christian" line was I think used too many times by him, and it got old quick. But he looked like the bigger man, and I don't like him, but he came out looking better until he got in the limo.
Yeah, I know. We're going to wait for that for like 2 more minutes because I also wanted to say the fact it seemed like Michael, he was like the attorney. He built this case of character assassination.
Yep.
It was a case, but I feel like when you're so emotional, it's just like word vomit.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw.
It was horrible. And what was even more horrible is when she gave him that rose, she didn't look happy about it.
Right. You just
She was not like, I want you here because I think that you're the right person for me. She was like, I think that they made her give somebody the rose at that point. I think they didn't give her the option of sending them both home because I think she should have sent them both home.
Or even kept them to figure out what's going on because Bryden had already left. So, you know, she didn't have to eliminate both.
I
or
think
one, I'm
that
sorry.
there was probably more of the date that we didn't see. And maybe that's the reason why Des still kept Mike around.
Well, and the thing that I do like about Des is she wears her heart on her sleeve, and I feel like you can tell a lot by her facial expressions. And even when her and Ben went and had the one-on-one together during that date, you could tell she wasn't buying anything he was selling at that point. I think that she agrees that he's a nice guy, but he has no idea how to be a nice guy. Like, his intentions are good, but he doesn't know how to do it.
He's like the anti-Tony Piper of dads.
Okay. Yeah, because
That's what
Tony's so close to his son.
Mike was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Because that is true that we didn't see him talk about his son
But we
the
didn't
entire
see it.
season.
He could have. They may not have shown it. You know?
But then Michael did bring it up. Because Michael doesn't know how it's going to be edited.
Right.
So he said that he hasn't brought up his son, and the fact that he, like you said,
He called him out and he was like, have you talked to your son since we've been in Germany? Which was probably only a couple days.
If that.
But if you're a good dad, you make it work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so now that we've just dissected the heck out of this date and just finishing up, like adding to what Krisily was saying, that, you know, Ben seemed like the better guy in this until he got into the limo.
Yeah.
And I think, was this his first line? The fact that Michael made it further than I did?
Like, it wasn't about Des picking him. It was about how far he made it.
Yeah.
Do you think that it was also the producers asking the right questions and him just being angry at that point?
Not when he then goes to say, you better be careful who's left or you won't have a bachelor. You missed out on a single dad from Texas. That no, that's not editing. That's not probing. That's not asking questions. Like, that is somebody that's spiteful and rude and arrogant. And no, I have nothing nice to say to him after that statement tonight.
And wasn't it last week on Katie Couric's show that Des was on? And I don't know if it was this show, but she was asked about Ben. I don't know if it was there, but she kind of didn't really remember Ben. I read that it was either I read it
There
or
was, it was some show, and I forget which guy it was, but they asked her, Katie Couric asked her about a guy.
I thought it was Ben, actually.
And she was just like, who? And then they had to remind her of who it was, and that was just funny. She has no poker face whatsoever, which is hilarious for interviews like Jimmy Kimmel.
So I'm wondering, really what we saw, what we didn't see, the rest of the story. I would love for them to put out Bachelor Uncensored. I mean, that would be great to see the full story. One day when it's all said and done, let's say the show after season 84, they decided, call it a day, and they...
It's so true, because Peyton and Chris Lambton actually were in town this week, and I got to hang out with them a little bit, and we were all sitting and talking about Bachelor's funniest moments and bloopers, and how we all know things that happened in our houses that were way better than what they showed. And I know that we all loved the bloopers, and audiences loved the bloopers. So imagine that we can all say there was funnier stuff, how much good stuff they have that we've never seen.
I mean, would they make that play? I mean, like, they could sell the DVDs. You're saying no, Cathy?
They would never do it.
After the show's said and done? Or when it's on...
I think there's a lot of things that they'll never show, because then it takes away from all of what we see. So where Cathy's 100% right that it's edited, and there are people that it comes out of their mouth, they say it, so you can't say not to judge because it came out of their mouth. But there are people like Michelle Money, who has a super dry, like, sarcastic sense of humor, who came across as really bad because of the way they edit it.
You can usually tell how a person is based on, like, especially at a women tell-all or a men tell-all, by how the other people react to them. And with Michelle Money, all of the girls loved her, and they were like, she just got a bad edit. Yeah. And that's one of those things. In the interviews, no one really ever said, oh, Michelle's an awful person. If it was always, like, kind of changed up, where it was like, she's not so, or like, she's getting so much time with him. Like, it's never, and her mean stuff was her going to give Brad a lap dance or whatever that was.
It's, I mean, and it's all in how you see it and who the person is. And I mean, my family would watch with me, and at the end of every episode be like, why are you so mean? So it's all in how they show it and how the person is and how they say things in the situations. But I feel like when it comes to people like Ben, when it comes to people like James, I don't know that this is editing. I think that this is.
So you think they're both the same? Because that was gonna be my next question. Because now that Ben's gone, it seems like the big baddie is going to be James. I
think James is a better actor than Ben. James comes across as a little bit more sincere, and I think it is that Italian Jersey Goomba in him. Even though I know he's from Chicago, I think that he's just better at being a playboy, because that's what he is. And I think Ben doesn't really have as much game, so he's a little bit more transparent.
I think that it wasn't about as much game. I think it was about emotion. And he was very calm and collected until he was called out. I think that James is the same way. He's very calm and collected, and next week he's going to get called out.
Well, we saw it a little bit at the rose ceremony tonight. We saw him panic, and I don't know if at that point he had heard that they were going to out him or whatever, because we saw that panic, and we definitely, I mean, he cries next week. I've never seen so many men cry in a season of The Bachelorette ever.
This season, there are so many, like, guys that seem great and good guys, and then there's so many guys that seem like just the scum of the earth.
Well said. Very well. No, it's
interesting. No, and it's interesting, and it's interesting. I know a person that was being considered for casting for the next Bachelor, and I'm blown away that they would even consider this person to be on the season. So it's making me question who they're putting on the show for the show.
I'm not going to ask who, but why? Why are you so shocked? What type of person are they considering?
Not someone that I would ever expect to see on this show to find love.
Interesting.
They just, I mean, they want to make a good TV show, and that's all it is. And while there are every season, it's no surprise, like, and this is something that I've known for a while, it's something that a lot of fans know, is that they pick, 3 to 5 good matches, and then they pick 20 crazy guys.
I wouldn't be surprised, with what you just said, that, she has like 4 or 5 guys that, especially right now, probably 1 or 2 that she's really into. And I've heard from so many seasons, like Ashley talking about these 2-on-1 dates. I didn't want to be with either of them, but I had to pick one to keep in the game.
Right. And they're not going to, send her on a date with Chris S. and James, because then you know who's going home. Like, I don't know.
No. Well, let's move on to some cheerier moments with the big castle at the end, and Chris Harrison having like that one-on-one with Des, and asking her about who is her favorite person to kiss.
That was just awkward.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh. She's like, well, it's no secret that you've made out with everyone in the house, but.
And I was surprised now she said for the sentimental kiss, it was Zach. She picked Zach and Brooks as her. I missed the part. Why would she kiss Brooks? Was it just because for a peck? Because Chris asked, for a sentimental kiss, you pick Zach, but I forgot why she picked Brooks. Why she would kiss Brooks.
She doesn't grab Zach by the neck and face and pull him in like she does Brooks and
Juan Pablo?
No, she did it to somebody else.
She does it to other
Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to bring up, the fact that she mentioned those 2 guys, could those be our leaders at this point? I hate to say leaders because it's love.
No, I think that they are.
Zach, really?
I mean, I think that he's going to last a while because I feel like he's one of those guys that you just keep around because he's fun. It's like, why, every
Naked
season.
guy? No.
I love that there's such division here.
The kid is like heartbroken, I guess.
Aw. Well, it's good to know that we are all split, and I'm still surprised. We're in week 5. We haven't seen a one-on-one with Drew. He intrigues me.
He could be the
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Catherine Giudici.
I just want to say, Des looked phenomenal at the rose ceremony. Like, she was glowing, and I usually hate updos, but hers looked really good. That's it.
Okay. I like the castle.
I loved the castle.
I don't usually like castles, but that castle
was amazing.
Looked really cool.
Now,
that's it.
Before we get out of here, who got a rose, who didn't get a rose, and get on to news and gossip. Throughout the whole theme tonight, it seemed
Cathy got a rose.
Cathy got a rose?
What?
What? AfterBuzz exclusive? Hit me, Steven. Okay. Anyway.
He's sleeping.
We
put him to sleep.
All right. Throughout tonight.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
That's a loud exclusive.
That was yesterday.
That's all right. We'll make it work anyway. No, with that said, tonight's theme, it seemed like a lot of people wanting to be the next Bachelor, the guys in it for the wrong reasons. What happens if Desiree does find someone and, gives her heart to this person and wants to spend the rest of her life with them?
And he says, no, I want to be the Bachelor?
Yes, not necessarily that, but...
We have heard that it's going to be a crazy ending.
Yes, so...
I hope she picks no one.
What if it's a Mesnick ending?
I don't think so. The way that Mike Fleiss was talking about it, she does pick someone, but it's just a wacky ending. It was Entertainment Weekly last week. So
I try not to read anything.
It was his interview.
No, I know. I just try not to read anything.
They say that every season, though. Like, oh, this ending will shock you.
The most dramatic season finale.
Oh my gosh!
Ever.
Emily sent home Ari 2 days before the rose ceremony. Crazy.
I'm still holding on to hope. So I believe everything Michael Fleiss says. Just kidding. Okay.
He's a good man.
He is.
I do. I love me some Mike Fleiss. He's a great guy.
He's the ringmaster. He knows how to put on a show.
He's freaking fun. Like, he's just a cool dude.
Next week, we'll have to ask you, bring us a little story, a little anecdote between you and Mr. Fleiss, for sure, that we can say on air. For sure. Because he's a fun guy, from what I hear. Uh-oh. All right, so going through the cocktail party, there was no cocktail party.
Yeah.
So the rose ceremony.
Second week in a row.
I know.
Kind of crazy.
I like it. She's made her decisions beforehand, and she doesn't want anyone to change her mind.
So this is something, though, I understand not wanting to have your mind change or already having the decision made. Maybe she thinks it's better for the guys because otherwise they'd have to stay up until 4 a.m. doing this cocktail ceremony. But at the same time, it seems like the guys want a cocktail ceremony. They want to talk to her one last time before she gives away the roses.
Of course, because it's their competitive nature, but you brought up a great point. I think Des maybe just wanted to sleep one night. Why does she want to stay up till 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
No cocktail party. Let's go to bed early.
It's selfish.
No.
I don't know that it's that she wants to sleep. I just think that she has her mind made up and she doesn't want to go through it. Like, I feel like that's going to be a very long, wearing night when you already know. And I think you guys have both talked about the fact that Allie and other bachelorettes have said they know who they want at the beginning. So at that point, it's like, why waste my time?
But at the same time, there have been cocktail ceremonies where someone has said, you know what, actually, I want to pick this person to give them the rose over that person. And it was a last-minute decision.
I don't ever believe when they say that. I think that's all a big fat lie for camera.
For camera producers?
That's just my opinion.
Okay. You know, and I was going to bring up the point, I mean, were we surprised that Mikey T left?
The meatballs got split up.
I know. Now one will have to be two.
Terrible.
True romance.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he'll be waiting for him in Chicago, just in case he doesn't win it all.
For the wicked tall ladies with lots of money.
That's right. So with that said, let's move on to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
I want to play with my app as you talk about it.
Wicked tall ladies love guys
Wicked.
with V-necks. So, news and gossip for the week. First off, JC did an amazing segue into Chris Harrison. He is dating again.
What?
Yes. That's the first part of this news and gossip. He says that he's dating again. He started dating. I'm slowly getting back out there, he told Huffington Post. He said, I'm slowly getting back out there. It's not altogether that much fun. It's tough. I have 2 kids, and so I have them half the time, and they've kind of been the focus, obviously, of rebuilding my life. Part of rebuilding his life is starting a new dating app. JC.
I have it.
To JC.
It's called At First Sight.
And it is a dating app that users can connect through video profiles.
Yes, it's like Tinder with video.
So JC has gone on
Dating on
several
Instagram.
dates since.
I have not. I just downloaded it just for the point for the story. Are you kidding me? I'm on OkCupid. Forget that.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding.
So
Dear.
At First Sight, you can download it on iTunes, on
Android, iTunes, and it's pretty neat.
everywhere.
I don't know if you read the part where you can only send certain amount of messages per day to per.
Is it free?
Yes, it is free, but they limit that so that you can pick the people for the right reasons.
Tell me that that's the actual verbiage.
Yes, it is.
Of course it is. It's Mike,
awesome.
Vice, and Chris.
Yes.
I just want to say, dating is so crazy now. Like, I don't think I would ever want to date someone that I met on an app. Like, that's just so bizarre to me.
I actually have a friend, Match.com, who they met on Match.com.
I know.
They've been married and have family, and they're like hopelessly in love. So not that Chris Harrison's is the same,
Yeah.
but I think that, just because it's an app, it's also a website. But I think that you can find people on the internet.
I think that you can find people, but the apps is like going a little far. Like Match.com, eHarmony, I totally
have
get it
apps
for
too,
certain
though.
people. Yes, but that's different because it's like a website. I don't know. But then like Tinder, you're basically just doing hot or not. Like I
That's
think it's
not
hilarious
the
and
same.
like whatever, but I would never like talk to anyone off of it and yeah.
Could it have a better percentage than actually The Bachelor and Bachelorette does for hooking up people? They're running a 12% success rate right now. So
Well, I'm sure they have more marriages, but it's just because they have more people.
I'm saying percentage-wise.
Are you saying
12%. They've only been up for like a week.
No. I'm talking giving The Bachelor and Bachelorette's history.
Yeah,
Of
right.
all 25
The Bachelor
seasons.
and Bachelorette has 12%
They have 12%.
success.
I thought
Yes.
you
Yeah.
said the
No.
website does. I was like, they've only been up for like a week.
I would love, since Chris Harrison wears his own outfits, for Chris Harrison to use his own app to find his next wife. If that works out for you, Chris
Ooh.
Harrison, I will be a believer.
Very well. I like that. That's very well said.
Yeah.
Wow. What else you got for us in the news?
Catherine Guidici, is that how you pronounce it?
Judici.
Judici.
There you go. Get
she
through the hands.
tweeted out the other night that Sean Lowe, her fiance, cannot pronounce nor spell her first name, so it is totally fine that I mispronounced it.
Okay.
So June 22nd, just a couple days ago, she said, Sean Lowe, yes, my fiance does not know how to pronounce nor spell my full name.
Wait.
And this is something that on the red carpet, our very own JC Rubio talked to them about pronouncing her last name.
He taught me how to pronounce her name correctly because I used to say but
it might still be incorrect.
Oh, great.
That is what I'm telling you.
I like that she said spell as well, not just pronounce, but spell.
Oh, man. What else? Anything else that you got for us here?
There was a lot of other stuff, but it was all little, bachelor couples getting married and whatever else. But it's not,
like Emily O'Brien getting engaged and things like that. But just
little
Emily
tidbits.
is engaged?
Yes. To a guy back home. I had his name down.
A professional rapper.
Wait.
No, it's not.
Emily, that was...
From Ben Flajnik's season.
Oh, forget it.
A while ago.
The PhD, the brainiac who was...
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ashley Hunt, who was on Jake's season, got married this weekend in Rhode Island. And Gia and Valisha, who also just got married recently, and Catherine Sherlock, who are all on Jake's season, were all at her wedding in Rhode Island. And it was absolutely
I thought you were
beautiful.
going to say Gia got married. I would be like, oh,
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're hoping it's close.
Yeah.
All right, so we got enough good news and gossip. Let's move on to some predictions and get out of here. It's late tonight.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
So what do we expect to see next week?
James cry.
Yes. Is he going home? Is he the bad guy or is it bad editing? We've talked about it all show.
It will be the most dramatic episode of the week.
That's deep.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, that's why we have her here.
You didn't rap this week, though. I'm a
know.
little unimpressed.
We're missing the
Because
rap.
people hated me last week.
I don't
You
think it
gotta
was the
let that
rapping.
go.
Yeah.
People hate me every week, but for
giggle.
you know what? I have to say that I got tweets that they love the honesty and love the fun. So sometimes people only post negative and they forget to post positive.
I'm never
So-
gonna laugh again.
AfterBuzz TV Nation, send Cathy Cupcake some love. She sends us love every week, so come on, let her know you care.
And just for you guys, we might be bringing in a special guest next week.
Yes, stay tuned on our tweets, and we'll keep you guys posted for sure. So with
Dozer?
that, not your dog, Dozer. Well, we'd love to have Dozer though. You can bring him too. So let's wrap it up. Cathy, Kelley, where can they find you besides AfterBuzz TV?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley.
And Krisily, when you're not visiting the White House, where can they find you?
On Twitter and Instagram at Krisily.
Yeah, check out. Did you post some pictures from you in Obama's house?
I did. I posted some pictures from Obama's house.
She sat in a car.
I did. It was the Beast
Exciting
from White
part.
House Down. The Beast. Let's get it straight.
Very nice. And
Yes.
Steven, once again, thank you for a wonderful show. Where can they find you?
You can find me here at AfterBuzz, listening to the great content you guys provide.
Wow, that was like
What a good plug.
Wow. That was a compliment. Hey, wow, I don't even know where to go from there.
Props
just to
for
say,
that plug.
I'm JC Rubio. You can find me on JC Rubio TV on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find all of us at AfterBuzz TV. Stick around for, what do we got next, Steven? What's our next show?
Mistresses.
Ooh, when Bachelor goes wrong.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.